Warning, the following podcast does have an explicit tag, and we would hate to disappoint it. You are listening to Not Another Atheist Podcast, the ramble without a cause podcast that breaks down issues in the secular humanist community and tries each episode to make sure that the explicit tag goes home satisfied and smoking a well-earned cigarette. As always, I'm your host, the polite Canadian Keith, and joining me is the New York born and bound bundle of attitude, Jen. Jen, thank you for joining me.
Hello. You'll be hearing me sniffle a lot. Kid is sniffling like he's actually snoring in bed right now, and I can feel it coming on, so I'm not doing coke. I am coming down with a cold.
Well, he did go back to school, and that is a germ factory.
I just need him to hold out past this weekend. We got plans this weekend. Just got him this like super cool fucking high back booster car seat, and it's got like the 5-point harness, but it converts to a lap belt thing. Man, he's got to hold out. We got to test out this car seat, man. I spent like fucking hours like losing my mind. I ordered one, right. And then after I ordered it, it's one of the reviews actually specifically listed the same car my boyfriend drives, and it said that they couldn't get a secure fit in it, so this was hours of haggling with Amazon to try to credit back my account to order the other one. Yeah, I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Well, there's no...
And it sucks because the other one actually matched my boyfriend's car perfectly. Like, it was the perfect colors, and now it has to be gray.
Man.
Kid's totally disappointed. He's like, I wanted blue. I'm like, tough fucking shit.
Oh.
I'm like, it's either you get gray or you die. So
okay, yeah. I mean, I guess when those are your two options.
Which one you want? What do you want, kiddo?
Yeah. All right. Well, should we stop teasing our audience and give them what they came for?
The tease is the best part.
No, that's the build-up. You know, that's where you spend, the time. Yeah, you might tease a little, but at the end of the day, a true tease is somebody who never satisfies.
Yeah. I had a good day the other day with that. And I'm sorry.
For those of you playing the Not Another Atheist Podcast at home game, I am flipping Jen the bird.
It's okay. Jen won't be able to have sex for 8 whole weeks. I think Keith froze on me. Yes, Jen will not be able to have sex for 8 whole weeks here soon.
No, so. I'm just debating on if I should actually show genuine sympathy or just continue to harass you.
Jen has to have surgery. Jen is getting the baby factory removed.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought he was. I thought boyfriend was going away. Right? Yeah.
No. Jen has to. Yeah, which would make it easier, like if he was physically somewhere else, but. He's going to be my primary caretaker during this. He's
a good boyfriend.
He's so fucking awesome. He's the fucking best guy like ever.
And
I tell him what did I tell him the other night?
I don't know, but all I know is that you won't even be there while he has a migraine.
Oh, shut up, okay? I said if you want to come here and rest and relax. I don't know how much rest and relax you're going to get with a 5-year-old running around, but you're more than welcome to. I offered to order him dinner. Aww. Being a good girlfriend. But he's going to be my primary caretaker, so I get to physically look at him for 8 weeks and not be able to have sex.
It's a good thing he's pretty, though. I mean, at least you get to just look and be like, yeah.
He's so pretty. Like, oh my God. I saw him in his little military, the ASUs, which is like the army dress uniform. Damn.
Okay.
But wait, what did I tell him the other week? You are the best man out of all the men.
I think that's biased because you've had him in bed, but okay, we're going to move on.
He is. He's the best man out of all the men. He's amazing. We got to have him back on the show. Your bromance on him is
I know, I haven't talked to him in a while. I know he's been busy, so I'm like, okay, I get it.
It's juicy. It's like, it's so scandalous.
It is. That's funny. Like, growing up, I never really had a lot of male friends. I thought guys were kind of annoying because they always had to, like, we all know how the typical boys are, like, growing up.
Yeah.
Most of my guy friends came later on. Giggity. Most of my guy friends arrived in my life later on, and I met them through the female friends the women friends that I had. Because they'd start dating, whatever, and I'd be like, hey, and then sometimes I would lose, her friendship and keep his. So now even my best man Keaton there, he was like the group of friends that I met him through. I actually don't really talk to anymore, but he's, you know, he and I barely go anything without talking.
Your group of guy friends is a bunch of discarded men from other relationships.
We share each other's pain.
Okay, just putting that out there.
No, that's most of them. I mean, there have been the odd one or two. Like sometimes they're through work, like Jim.
Yeah, occasionally. Jim.
Although it's weird because like I have to remember that he's like the same age as my dad, and I'll go over. He and I will get.
I know.
We'll hang out. We'll get high as fucking kites. Watch stupid Christian movies. Which by the
he looks like way younger though.
He does.
Like,
He's gifted with a younger face, but
seriously, like we gotta have Jim back too. I miss Jim. Hey Jim.
Hi Jim. Sorry to throw you under the bus and call you old Jim. Love you, Jim.
Okay, so let's get this.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Ours.
Right.
Our first story begins, as these stories often do, with a young up-and-coming politician. But not really, because this asshole has been around for years. In fact, he's been around so long, he's developed quite the rap sheet as being an opponent of women's rights, the LGBTQ community, the right to masturbate, and he even tried to ban dildos. He was caught the other night when it was noticed that on his Twitter, under his liked, where you can see what the
I wouldn't call him young and up-and-coming.
No, that's why I totally backtracked on that and retconned it.
Yeah, he's pretty established.
When Ted Cruz was found to have liked a video from the Twitter account Sexual Posts, that's sexual with 2 L's, so SEXUALL posts. Figure out how to spell the last bit. And
just fucking search it, it'll come up for fuck's sake.
Start that way. And on his likes, there was a photo of this video that had been liked. And what I find to be really... Oops, I'm hitting my microphone around here. What I find to be really, really interesting about the particular video that he watched or liked, we can't say he watched it for certain.
We can't say for certain that he watched it.
But he might have seen, you know, a buxom, mature-looking blonde with her fingers on her panties. But anyways... She walks in on her husband with another woman, and instead of the presumed usual, you know, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my god, I'm killing everybody in the house. It was, hey, let's get down.
Hey, this is hot. I'm gonna go 3 knuckles deep.
Right.
Which, to be brutally honest, like I really don't care, except for the fact that it's Ted fucking Cruz who has gone out of his way to prove that he is not a sex positive person.
I'm like. I don't fucking care that somebody watches porn.
No, hell no.
I don't care that they beat off. I don't give a shit.
No.
I actually think it's really healthy.
Yeah, masturbation is great. It's sex with somebody you love.
Exactly, and it lets you figure out what you like. Even masturbation, like when you're with somebody, it lets you figure out what you like, so that you can tell your partner.
Absolutely.
What you like. You know, masturbation's a fucking great thing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And it's, you know, okay, so people watch porn, people masturbate. There's a reason it's a billion and billion upon billions of dollars industry.
It's not without its own issues,
asshole, dude.
But when you're a hypocrite,
it's okay to watch porn. It's okay to watch porn. There are so many people that are into cuckolding porn and wife caught me, and you know, 2 chicks and 1 guy. There's so it's fair. Those are fairly common kind of categories on porn sites.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be a dick about it. It's okay. Oh my god, fuck you too. I miss the shit out of my boyfriend. Fuck you too. Anyway.
Anyways.
But like, yeah, like nobody. I don't care that he's watching porn. And hey, I mean, if you can get some quality shit for free off Twitter, fucking more power to you. That's a great fucking way to add to your collection. Is you're just kind of scrolling and it's like, ooh, cool. Exactly. You know, put that shit in Spank Bank. And that's like fucking gold mine day right there.
What's hilarious is that that account has now said watched by Ted Cruz and actually has his handle in their name. That's brilliant.
I love that. But like, just don't be a dick. Like, don't sit here and be like, masturbation is wrong and porn is degrading.
And that's the thing, though, is that's why this is such a scandal. Like, yeah, okay, if we caught a politician doing it, we'd probably give him a hard time. But the reason this is backfiring on him
if it
so
was
much,
like Bernie Sanders that got caught, they'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I totally see this.
people would be like, okay, he masturbates, big deal. I mean, it's like, kind of
okay, him and his wife are probably at the local swingers club, and it shocks nobody.
you know, I mean, I don't know if once you're that old, you know, if jacking off is worth use of a Viagra or Cialis or whatever, but you know, hey,
you
whatever.
don't know, he might be very robust.
That's true. He does seem the type to be that stubborn.
He does.
I mean,
he seems
to be hard when it's necessary.
And his wife is like considerably younger than him too. And let me tell you, you got to keep up with these younger ones. You got to keep up with them.
Okay, we'll talk about old men dating young women in a little bit. That's coming up. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's coming up.
We're still ripping on Ted
like,
Hypocritical Cruz.
Just don't be an ass. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with watching porn. You're not. To me, watching porn is not cheating unless it becomes. I wouldn't even say cheating. Watching porn's not a problem unless it's like.
Unless it impacts your life.
Right. If you would rather watch porn than like sleep with your wife.
That's when it's a porn, unless your wife has absolutely no interest in sex, which you should probably have seen counseling.
Right, but
for
if you have if you have somebody that's willing and ready and wants that intimacy with you, and you'd rather get it from there, then yeah, it's a problem. But
then you need to reconsider your priorities.
And maybe get some help and talk, or at the very least talk about it with your partner.
Communication, folks. But, that's all it takes.
Right, for the win, man. But just don't be an ass about it. Like, Ted, nobody would care.
Nobody would have cared.
Like, we'd probably get a good laugh about it and be like, oh, ha, ha.
If you weren't so determined to infiltrate, to get the government into everybody else's sex lives. I mean, again, who gives a flying fuck if you like sex, if you like porn? I mean, it's 2017. Apparently on a first date now, you eat ass, which is a trend that I'm still trying to figure out how that became popular, because I mean, don't get me wrong, it feels good to have done to you.
I don't personally do it, but I am how can I put this?
Jen, you've had your ass eaten before and you liked it.
Yes.
So have I.
I not like it.
Not
liked it. Like, but it's like, dude, nobody cares, man. So you watch a little porn. So you're flipping through Twitter and you're in your office, and you got 30 minutes before you got to get up and do what the fuck you got to do. You got your coffee. You flip through Twitter. You find some fucking awesome, like 3-minute video, 10-minute video.
Jesus.
And you fucking beat your shit and fucking go to work. Like, you know how many fucking men do this every day? I
don't know why I don't. I mean, masturbating with coffee while I have coffee to wake myself. God,
right?
Damn, why don't I? Damn it.
Right. This is a good idea. See, doesn't that just sound like deeply
I mean, when you don't get morning sex, like, yeah, that I think would be the next best thing.
Right. With just like a really good cup of like French pressed coffee.
Oh, God, that does sound fantastic.
Right. Or get it, especially on like a fall day where it's not cold enough to wear a coat, but it's like the sweater weather, and you got that nice warm cup of coffee, and you beat off in the morning, and then you go to work. What a great fucking way to start the day, man.
Yeah.
What a great way.
Absolutely.
What a great way to start. Right?
Yeah.
Like, Ted, nobody gives a shit. Believe me.
Okay.
There are probably men that you work for and work with that have way kinkier shit in their porn history than the shit you like.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's... Please, I'm sorry. That's tame.
Trust me. Just don't be an asshole about it. So people like to masturbate. People like to watch porn. People like to do way dirtier shit than that. It doesn't make them evil people.
Okay, so...
Sex is good. Sex is fun.
So, moving forward... So, there are two other things that I think are hilarious about the story. Second, he immediately blamed an aide.
Yes, he said it wasn't him.
That it was an aide, and...
That it was an aide.
Fucking what? How old are you? Are you 6 years old?
Okay, but
well,
let's
didn't
think
do
about
the thing.
Let's think about this.
Cruz.
Even if it was his aide scrolling through his feed, it means he still follows this page.
Well, you can look at like and retweet things on Twitter if you don't follow the page.
Forgot about that.
Trust me.
But an aide did it. That's the equivalent to I didn't knock over the fucking glass, the cat did it.
Yeah, exactly. And the second part to this, now I have to verify this because I don't know how reliable The Hill is.
I don't know.
But they were talking about an interview he did on CNN, so I'll have to find the interview. I kind of rushed this aspect because I just found out about this little aspect of it a few minutes before we hit record. Is now he's saying quote, consenting adults should be able to do whatever they want in their bedrooms. The media and the left seem obsessed with sex. Let people do what they want. Okay, and it gets better.
Go ahead.
Because he follows up by saying, it's an opportunity for knuckleheads in the media to claim, oh, isn't that ironic that Cruz wants to ban these things? People ought to be able to do what they want in their own bedrooms. Motherfucker.
Okay, first. The only reason the left is so obsessed with sex is because a lot of them on the right are trying to ban it.
And we're
and it's
not
like,
opposed to liking
no.
sex.
And it's like, no, this is the one free thing that a lot of us enjoy, and not many things are free anymore. So,
yeah, fucking.
can you just like leave us with this, you know? Just kind of leave this alone. Secondly, what did he say? People should be able to do what they want to do, and
yeah,
let it be. But then why is he trying to ban all this shit?
Yeah, he's declined to give the name of the staffer. It was
which means the staffer does not exist. Yeah. Which means they're still looking for the fall guy.
Oh yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that says he actually responded to the question of if he saw the irony that he was defending the rights of adults to engage in such behavior in the privacy of their bedrooms when he had defended laws banning sex toys when he was Solicitor General.
Right. Here's actually a article from Vanity Fair that I will link. Ted Cruz doesn't believe you have the right to masturbate. There is no substantiated due process right to stimulate one's genitals, his legal team argued.
Yeah. So...
yeah, this was during the ban on sex toys.
What is it, Teddy Boy?
This was back, I believe it was 2015, 2016. I'm sorry, he was a mere Solicitor General for the state of Texas, so this was a while ago.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz helped write a 76-page legal brief defending the Lone Star State ban on the sale of sex toys. While his argument was ultimately shot down by an appellate court, the brief resurfaced Wednesday, confronting Americans with an unfortunate juxtaposition, I can never say that word correctly, of mental images. It was a 2007 brief for the case, which Cruz was tasked with defending a state law banning the sale of and advertisements of sex toys, or quote-unquote obscene devices, as he called them. An offense then punishable by up to 2 years in jail for owning a vibrator.
Jesus Christ.
2 years in jail.
No, thank you.
Cruz observed that the law itself did not prevent people from using dildos or artificial vaginas in the privacy of their own homes. But unlike Lawrence v. Texas, the landmark Supreme Court case striking down laws prohibiting certain types of consensual sex, there is no substantive due process right to stimulate one's own genitals for non-medical purposes unrelated to the procreation or outside of an interpersonal relationship. It is unclear who penned that exact turn of phrase, but one could easily imagine Ted Cruz saying those words to a black-robed judge. Now, it was struck down. Now, it does argue that maybe he was made to do this because of his job at the time.
Well, see, he's kind of a, like, if you look at him, he's very much like a wet, limp fish that's, on the verge of dying in terms of the amount of personality that he has.
Oh, no, wait. I've answered my own question. A group of online retailers and Austin stores that sold sex toys were not protected under the 14th Amendment's right to privacy. In fact, he continued, banning obscene devices was in public interest, and the government should be granted police powers for the purposes of discouraging prurient interest in sexual gratification and combating the commercial sale of sex and protecting minors. Furthermore, using obscene devices, the state argued, was akin to hiring a willing prostitute or engaging in consensual bigamy. So, yeah. So, having a dildo is akin to prostitution.
Yeah.
Which I believe should be legal anyway, but, apparently I'm harming minors by owning a vibrator.
Yes, because you're taking it to the playground and
Texas
beating them about their faces.
would have a fucking heart attack if they saw the shit that I like to keep on hand.
That was an interesting pause. I'm glad you worded that properly.
I was really struggling to find the words there.
Yeah, so
but yeah,
fuck Teddy Cruz.
Yeah. But wait a minute. No devil's advocate here. Devil's advocate.
Why?
He was prohibiting the sale of sex toys. He was not saying that masturbation with one's own hands was immoral.
So, okay, so he wanted to watch a woman masturbating even though she was watching her husband have sex with another woman.
But there were no sex toys.
Huh.
Loophole!
I mean, I suppose, but the guy's still an asshole because he's
Yeah, he's still a dick.
Yeah, he's
Whatever. He's still a dick.
yeah.
If you look at him side by side, do you remember the show The Munsters?
Oh my God, Herman Munster.
No,
Or-
Grandpa.
or
Hold on. I'm going to send it to you.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Go check your Facebook messages,
I was
ass.
wondering what that was all about. Oh, that's right too. I have seen that one. That's hilarious.
Right? You'll never unsee this again. We are actually going to make this the header picture. Because you will never unsee this again. But yeah, Ted, stop being a dick, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Just fucking own up to it. You accidentally liked a porn video. It could have been worse. You could have shared it to your Facebook and not known.
Oh man, that would have been fucking hilarious.
You know, you could have like personally shared it, like clicked the Twitter button by accident, like the retweet button, and shared it from your fucking account. It could have been worse, Ted. Relax.
Oh man,
It's just
could it
porn.
ever? Yeah, it's literally just porn. Just
It's just porn.
chill out, dude.
Just relax. Relax.
Relax.
Don't do it.
Wait, isn't the song "Go Relax, Go Do It"?
Don't do it. I think.
I'm pretty sure it's
I don't
"Relax, Go Do It" when you want to go do it. When you want.
I don't know. I'm fucking tired. I don't know. Whatever. Everyone knows the fucking reference I was making. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So moving on, because segues are great. Here's another hypocritical asshole.
Yay.
There's a movie that's being revealed. I think it's at the Toronto International Film Festival. I could be wrong. Being released by a man named Arnie Hammer.
I love Arnie Hammer.
Oh, do you? Never
Arnie
heard
Hammer.
of him.
Do you ever see The Social Network?
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
Oh my god, how did you not watch this? That movie was fucking great.
Apparently. Okay.
Jesus
Good to know.
fucking Christ. Start fucking Game of Thrones too, dick.
We'll talk about that closer to the end of the show.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, Armie Hammer's awesome.
Anyways,
He's
so he has a movie being... Oh, sorry. Luca Guadagnino's festival. Oh, no. I don't know. Anyways, it's a
Festival. It's a fucking festival.
I don't know. It's a movie festival.
He's showing it at some shit none of us are going to, so fuck
Yeah,
it.
none of us are rich enough. It's a movie called Call Me By Your Name. It chronicles the relationship of a 24-year-old gay man and a 17-year-old boy. On this, James Woods tweeted out Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't his tweet. That was somebody else's. James Wood tweeted, "As they quietly chip away the last barriers of decency. #NAMBLA." So, Arnie Hammer, who is apparently a fucking genius and handles criticism so very well,
Brilliantly.
he responded by saying, "Didn't you date a 19-year-old when you were 60?" And the story gets even better when somebody...
It
a
spirals from
woman
here.
who I have no idea who she is, Amber Tamblyn, also...
She's an actress.
Oh, okay.
She's an actress.
Makes sense. She also tweeted...
I've heard of her, but I don't think I've seen anything with her in it.
She also tweeted, "James Woods tried to pick me and my friend up at a restaurant once. He wanted to take us to Vegas. I'm 16, I said. Even better, he said." So his response, of course, is the first is illegal, the second is a lie. And according to him, the libs are yelping, troll traffic is up. He doesn't pay any attention, really. He likes Arnie Hammer as an actor, though. So...
Yeah.
The guy's just been an asshole, and thank you, Seth MacFarlane, for giving him spotlight and relevance in our culture.
I was just going to break into that. First off, why would anybody want to lie about James Woods when the only thing noteworthy he's done in the last God knows how many years is Family Guy episodes?
And really, all he did was just make himself look like an ass.
He acted like himself and lent his voice to a cartoon, acting exactly like himself.
Like Adam West?
I'm still hurt
I know.
over that.
I miss him. I loved his face. He looked so warm and loving. Now I have the sad.
He looked like this awesome, cool grandpa.
He looked like a hug.
Smoke joints with you.
Oh my god,
He did.
yes.
Like he looked like the type of grandpa that would give you the biggest, warmest hug when you showed up at his house. Like I'm talking like, when you're adult and you get married and you have kids and you bring like the family over to your grandpa's house. He looked like he would like give you the warmest, biggest hug. He'd play with the kids all night and the kids just loved their great grandpa.
And then once the kids passed out, he'd break
You
out the
sat
scotch.
on his back porch in his Cracker Barrel rocking chairs and smoked a fucking joint with him.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Adam West conveyed to me. Anyway.
So James Woods is an asshole.
So James Woods is a dick. Right?
Well,
And it's like, whoa, holy gaslighting.
and as somebody who's like just through his
And
60s.
for those of you who do not know what gaslighting is, let me pull up the official
Well,
term for you.
she
So
does
I don't
that.
Seriously, fuck. This
I'm going to
up.
point out that James Woods has a history of dating women several decades younger than him. It's kind of predatory and hypocritical for him. Now, don't get me wrong. I have issues, a little bit of issue with 24-year-olds going after 17-year-olds. I think that there is a bit of a maturity, life experience imbalance there, and it can set up a very heinous power imbalance. I'm the product of one such relationship. My parents are still together, so it can work.
I'm currently in a relationship with a very big age difference. There's 11 and a half year age difference between us.
But he's not late teens.
But
he's
not 18.
Exactly.
He's a man in his 20s that has lived some shit in life, you know what I mean?
He's in his mid-20s, so
he's not a 17-year-old.
So there's that difference to be considered. Not when you're goddamn ordering off of, what is it, the early bird special menu, and she wants to go clubbing. Like, come on.
And she could literally be your granddaughter. And
I'm pretty sure she's younger.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say, as long as it's between consenting adults, I don't give a shit.
Much.
I don't give a shit if a 70-year-old man wants to date a 19-year-old fucking girl. If it's between consenting adults, whatever, I'm fine with it. But when you start dealing with 15, 16-year-old children is when I do have a problem. And yes, it's not a huge age difference. One, we have legalities of adults, and two, as far as brain development and decision making and impulse control, there is a very big difference between 15 and 16 and 17 to 19.
Yeah. Huge difference.
Now, I'm going to pull it up from Urban Dictionary because they have a much more lengthy and defined.
Wow, that's not something you often talk about, except when it comes to heinous sex acts you would never talk to your parents about.
A form of intimidation or psychological abuse, sometimes called ambient abuse, where false information is presented to the victim, making them doubt their own memory, perception, and quite often their sanity. The classic example of gaslighting is to switch something around on someone that you know they're sure to notice, but then deny knowing anything about it, and explain to them that they must be imagining things when they challenge these changes. A more psychological definition of gaslighting is an increasing frequency of systematically withholding factual information from and or providing false information to the victim, having the gradual effect of making them anxious, confused, and less able to trust their own memory and perception. The term gaslighting actually came from a movie in the 40s, I believe. It's a movie called Gaslight. It's a 1944 drama. And it's after the death of her famous opera singing aunt, Paula, played by Ingrid Bergman, is sent to study in Italy to become a great opera singer as well. While she's there, she falls in love with charming Gregory Anton, played by Charles Boyer. The two return to London, and Paula begins to notice strange goings-on, missing pictures, strange footsteps in the night, and gaslights that dim without being touched. As she fights to retain her sanity, her husband's intentions come into question. That's where the term gaslighting came from. He would dim the gaslights.
Right, and then when she questioned it, he
was like, no, everything's fine. What are you talking about? You're losing your mind. Right. Gaslighting in this sense is, he's like, no, it never happened. What are you talking about?
Right.
As you can see, I vehemently am against anybody dating somebody that young, so clearly you're lying because it's illegal and I would never do that. And like...
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, no, you have a history of this shit. And like I said, when he's 60 and this chick is 19, I don't have a problem with this. They're consenting adults. But when you're 60 and hitting on a fucking 16-year-old, I have a problem.
Yeah. Well, and
I have a problem.
James Woods, I just found an article from 4 years ago. James Woods, 66, replaces his 26-year-old girlfriend with drug bust arrestee, which doesn't matter, Kristen Bognes, I don't know, and she's only 20. That to me is problematic. Like, yes, she's an adult and she can consent, and
I don't even care about that. Whatever, that's fine. You know what I mean? That's whatever. But it's the fact of he has a pattern.
Yeah.
With younger
women.
He can
only date women that young.
And then you're like, no, I don't date younger women, and it's like, I don't hit on younger women. Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Sorry, the article says something about White House Down. Wasn't that shitty?
I never watched it, but I heard it was really shitty.
Well, right, wasn't that the comedy version of London Has Fallen? Or Olympus Has Fallen?
I think it was meant to be serious.
What, didn't it? I don't know. I don't really care enough to really dig too much deeper into it. But
No.
like, this is the same shit we see with guys like Scott Disick who are, 30s, 40s, and they're constantly seen with girls who are like 19, 20. And
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. It's when, one, you hit on children. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And then two, you're like, no, you clearly have a history of being attracted to and dating younger women, which is fine as long as they're adults. But don't fucking sit here because you got caught with your dick out and then try to deny it and say she's a fucking liar.
See, to me, it's still like, even somebody in like their late teens, very early 20s, I still take issue with somebody who's much, much older than them, just because there is that life experience imbalance where they may not have dealt with that person's bullshit before. Like, think back to when we had the girls on from Tumblr. We were talking about, because Jerry is she's, like a couple years older than you, and she has guys
Right.
who are like 20 years younger than her hitting on her, and she's like, no, that's gross, that's uncomfortable, like, we're at very different places in our lives. I don't want that.
Right. Like, my rule was you had to have been at least 18 by the time my son was born, and my boyfriend just skirts that.
Yay, he was
I
drinking.
think he does. Let me
Just.
double check this real quick.
Jen needs to verify, otherwise she's...
Yes, he
Yeah.
he actually turned 18 a month after my son was born. So, yeah.
Next time on Not Another Atheist Podcast, Jen has a meltdown.
But yeah, okay, yeah. Fuck. But still, okay, whatever.
Ignorance was bliss, Jen.
But he was also doing shit that most 25-year-olds were not doing at 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think we're going to march on to the next float in the asshole parade. Yeah, this is one that...
This is like the fucking Macy's Thanksgiving asshole parade right now.
Thank you, Christopher Tanner, for posting this on your Facebook for me to find. That is Chris Rock's original so-called inaugurational celebration
Kid
speech.
Rock, not Chris Rock.
Did I say Chris Rock?
Different people. You said Chris Rock.
Oops. Yeah, definitely. One is black and one just thinks he's black.
Yes.
Yeah, so according to Kid Rock, he's gonna run for Senate, which is interesting because he might make history as being one of the very few people running for office, if he actually is, that is less qualified for the job than the current acting president. Like, how... Jen, I have to ask, as an American, how the hell does this make you feel?
I mean, all right. I do have an issue with these lifelong senators and lifelong representatives because I do think there should be some kind of a term limit because shit just gets stale. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, like, no. Like, your first hit song was a word that doesn't even exist in the English language. It's gibberish.
It rhymes, though, so it must be true.
Like I want to know where the shift happened. He was this like gold chain wearing half shitty rapper for a while, and he was like so proud of being like, literally one of his lyrics is all in the name of white trash. Like, he's totally proud to be white trash, and now he's this God-fearing gun-toting American.
See,
When did this happen?
So I haven't actually looked if he's actually signed himself up for it. I know he's got a website for it and he's referenced it a lot, but the way he's handling it, part of me just wonders if he's not trying to get back into the spotlight so he can reignite his career.
Yeah, but look what happened to the last person that just kind of did it for goofs and they'll never elect me. He's fucking president now.
True, but he had actually thrown his name in. I don't know if Kid Rock has actually thrown his name in though. And
we can't underestimate the stupidity of voters.
No, because if you actually look at what he says, like, on the surface, what he says is fucking stupid. It's literally just pandering to Trump's base, which is his base, and all it is he's just putting it into rhyme and just riling up a room full of people who are behaving like toddlers and engaging in groupthink.
This is why, and I hate to say this, but we are living in a society of groupthink, and it's on both sides. It's on the left and it's on the right. And
oh yeah,
it's fucking sad because like nobody has a fucking original thought anymore. Like I get attacked, but I very much lean left. But there's some shit that I'm very extremely conservative about. Like I'm pro-gun. There's shit I'm conservative about. And then it's like, even with the groupthink from the left, it's like, well, if you're not 100% with everything we agree with, then you're against us. And it's like, okay, but everyone is looking for this leader or this shining star, and nobody is willing to say anything original to be that person.
Well, I mean,
and that's a big part of the reason why Trump won, because he was saying something different than these career group thinking politicians, and that's what got him elected. It's that.
Yeah.
We haven't really had this polarizing kind of thinking on my own leader in a long time.
And we keep seeing this even in our podcasting community and the skeptical community and the atheist community, which are
the atheist community. Yeah.
They all overlap in some incestuous Venn diagram, but we keep seeing these rifts that occur because, well, if you're not 100% for me, then, well, I'm gonna use every chance to attack you as a way of riling up my fans, instead of these are the issues. This is what we disagree on. Why do we disagree? Right. What exactly is it that we're disagreeing
and why
on?
Is it so bad to say, I am an individual, I have listened to my thoughts? Like, why is it so hard? Why? I'm sorry if...
The problem is, though, is that people are saying that, but they're the ones who insist that they have to fall right down the center, and they keep catering to this false balance that Nazis and Antifas are equal.
The same as me, I would be bored out of my skull.
Yeah, but you also like conflict and chaos and fighting.
But I really don't. Like, case in point, me and the boyfriend. There's a lot of shit we don't agree with, like politically and shit like that. I mean, Marley, we do have the same base, but politically, there's a lot of shit we don't agree on. And we could sit and talk about it, and we're like, okay, I don't think any less of him, because I mean, it's not like, it's not political to where it's like, oh yeah, let's ban abortion type of shit. You know what I mean? It's nothing like where it would be detrimental to another person type of deal. But there are some issues that we completely disagree with. And I enjoy hearing his side of it because, sometimes he does give me different insight to it, and it lets me learn.
And it challenges your perspective to make sure that you...
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, okay, we have this one minor disagreement on this one topic that we both don't agree on, so you need to get the fuck out of my life. Like, no.
I'm marrying a Catholic.
Exactly. My boyfriend's extremely more conservative than I am in a lot of things.
Right.
And there are some things that we've discussed, and I've looked at him and I'm like, I respect that you have this opinion, but I don't think the same.
Yeah. Well,
and that's just it.
Right.
I'm not going to go throwing away a great relationship because we have a disagreement on...
Well, no, but a lot of people, they're doing it to grandstand, too.
Yeah, they are doing it to grandstand, but it's like, you want to really grandstand, you want to really stand out, then don't do the group thing.
Right.
Be an individual, and that's, like I said, that's how Trump got elected, because he was an individual. He said a lot of shit.
Let's not go too far and give the man too much credit.
But it's true. He said a lot of shit that went against the Republican Party, and did think and speak differently than this groupthink two-party system. And I think that was the main.
It's not that he was an individual. It's that he just was able. He wasn't tied down with the same red tape that I think they were.
And it took somebody outside of the groupthink to get people
where the
riled up.
Republicans have spent years, fine-tuning their arguments and learning how to become the biggest toddlers in politics.
And I will say right now, the Republican Party is far stronger than the Democratic Party because they've learned how to close rank.
Yeah.
and they've learned how to kind of fall in on each other and fill the gap. So even if there is internal fighting, nobody's seeing it on the outside.
See, this actually is an interesting thing that I've had to deal with a lot in my own life, and it's something that I'm working with is shattering that notion. Like, I have people who I have great respect for, but that does not mean that I can't critique them in the same light.
Right.
That does not mean that, because I love them, I respect them, whatever, that I have to, just let them be who they are completely unchallenged. I mean, I do have friends who are passive Trump supporters.
The core of why you love these people.
Right. I mean, the annoying thing is that it does ultimately jump into the love of labels and groupthink knee-jerk responses that come with these labels. That's why I tried not to use a lot of them. One of the biggest ones that I have is I've spoken about this before, how my family and I disagree on a lot of things politically. But I've found, and I'm really hoping he never listens to this. I don't think he will, but I really hope not. Is my dad is fervently against the idea of climate change. I used to be. I very much used to be. I wrote a paper on it in high school. I go back and read that and I cringe and I go, oh my God, I was so uninformed and got everything wrong.
What the hell's wrong with me?
Exactly. Yeah. He's very quick to go off on politics, and we have, as a family, tend to have a rule where we will not bring it up because he will just go, and he's gone. He gets himself worked up. Everybody else gets worked up, and it's just chaos.
It's a mess.
Yeah. But I did find that instead of focusing on the broad topic, the subtle little arguments, which I looking back is the subtle little pillars that upheld my opinions, seeing them crumble before me is actually a good part of the reason why I was able to change my opinion, is because instead of being hit with the the things that I dogmatically was against on the specific issues. Well, where do you stand on this? Oh, really? Well, what about this issue and this issue? Well, I'm on those same things too, but I'm over here. And having somebody show me that we could agree on 100% of the points, and I had no defense. I was just like, but this label. And it's like, well, why does that label matter?
This is the group you fall into, and this is where you stay.
Exactly. But with my dad and the global warming thing, is he was talking about ice around the Antarctic and how it goes, well, there's a lot more sea ice. And I said, there's actually a common misconception. Sea ice is actually ice that's part of the sea level. That's already factored into it.
Right,
as opposed
we're not
to
talking about the permafrost.
The permafrost, the actual glaciers that build up the ice on land. And that's where the issue is coming in. The reason there's more sea ice is because there's more runoff coming off from the land. And I broke that down and I went, oh, that's interesting. And we carried on.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't blow up because there was no focus on the labels. And I think that's something that a lot of people like to get bogged down into, is this idea that if you are a label, you have to subscribe to.
When that started,
it's a human thing.
One day.
It's very much a human thing. We learned about it.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it was as I got older I realized it.
For me, I learned a lot about it in my social psych class. It's commitment. It's a principle called commitment and consistency. Is that if you proclaim yourself as something, you're going to commit yourself to it. It's part of what brings out the backfire effect, which is why when you get in somebody's face and disagree with them, you're not as likely to change their mind, as they're going to dig their heels in.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they're going to be consistent and behave in that way.
When you're, the formative years in high school is kind of when you kind of make these identifying labels for yourself. Mm-hmm. My high school was very different, to where we didn't have cliques, and we kind of didn't declare. Yeah, we didn't have any. And we kind of didn't declare, and everyone was just kind of really cool by each other. So I really wasn't aware of it, and I kind of went into this world with that kind of mind frame.
Yeah.
And it's also, it's just living in New York, to where you can't really self-declare like that, because there's so many people living on top of each other, and you have to deal with so many different kinds of people that you kind of can't do that.
Right.
But our self-declaration was being a New Yorker. That's our group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's as I got older that I'm starting to, and I'm starting to see more of the world and more of how, things do operate differently outside of a major city like that. Maybe that's why I'm just like, holy shit, when did this happen? Maybe it was always there, and I just, as I got older, I'm noticing it.
Yeah, it's infuriating, and like I said, I've seen, like, unfortunately, I have several of the bigger name podcasters on my friends list, and I've had to unfollow several of them because they're buying into this mantra of this label good, that label bad. There's far too many people who are, oh well.
And there's
now we've got
many labels now. Like, it's hard to fucking keep up.
Yeah,
There's so many.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't know if this is just like a modern thing and it's gonna die out as people, as the whole idea that you no longer have to fit into your parents' labels. I think as that idea goes away, I think the vast number of labels will dwindle. I think.
No, but it seems to me that now that we're rebelling against this baby boomer labels, they're creating like 9,000 more labels to replace the ones that they've dropped, because it's like, okay, you wanted to group me into this one thing, well, now I'm going to show you how unique and different I am, so I'm going to create 9,000 different labels for minuscule minute things, just to show you how unique I am, and you can't put me in your box.
Exactly. And I have respect for that, because I think it is important that we do, as society grows and changes, we do shatter and shed those old labels. And
that's great, but it's like, all right, it's fucking overkill now.
It does get confusing, but
I'm just referring to people in general as hey you, because there's always something different that everybody wants to be called now, and I'm sorry, I can't keep up with it all. So I'm just gonna look at people and be like, hey you. Just to be like totally fucking safe. And not even like gender identities. I'm talking about like anything.
Unfortunately, I haven't.
Political and fucking hobbies. And I'm just going to be like, yo, hey, you.
It's, like people like labels. Labels make a nice, neat little box. And that's how you can identify somebody who's in group and somebody who's out group. I like
some labels, but after a while, I'm just like.
It's a human thing to do.
I like to define things. And I like knowing where the clear line is on things, because there's no gray area for me to overstep, and I know my limitations. But once you just start throwing like tassels on bedazzles, it's like I can't do it right.
And we found the title
like
for this
you're
episode.
putting fucking fidget spinners on fucking booby tassels now, and you know what? It's just way too much going on.
How dare you knock my stripper move? Okay, how dare you?
Or no, okay, even better. It's like people that are putting these feathers or this fabric on their nails just to be extra, and it's like, yeah, you fucked it up by just piling too much shit on it.
Yeah,
leave that shit alone.
But it's everybody's too focused on the labels, and that's what I think is the problem. And then
in order to be unique from this group thinking, they're just creating more fucking labels, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, we like to feel that there is something specific that makes us special, and as I said, I think it's something that's just it's just another thing that happens with our, with society. It's gonna come, it's gonna go, and something else is gonna take its place. Like, there's always gonna be the next thing to replace something that was hated in the last generation. So I can only imagine how conservative our kids are probably gonna end up being, because like, oh my god, you actually did all that with your hair? I don't want to.
Like, wouldn't that be funny if like we're this whole left socialist leaning movement, and our kids, in order to rebel against us, became totally right wing?
God, that would be unique. But
like, it's just time like repeating itself.
Yeah, no kidding. So, fuck you, Kid Rock. So we're gonna move on. We've got one last float in the asshole of the week parade.
And I do want to touch on the 2 Category 4 hurricanes that did hit the United States and the Bahamas this week. So
yeah, but they look like buttholes from space, but they're not actually. So
they act like fucking buttholes, but anyway, go ahead.
With their wind and everything. Our friends over at Cellar Door Skeptics, and maybe this is just foreshadowing that we're going to talk to them again soon. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways.
Oh, I'd love to.
Hannah shared this story today. This is another story that I came across in the moments.
It's fucking infuriating, man.
It is, and it does touch, for me, it touches something that's especially sensitive. So before we dive headfirst into this, state authorities helping an investigation of alleged race-based attack in Claremont.
New Hampshire. Claremont, New Hampshire.
Yeah, Claremont, New Hampshire. This the original, like that's just a headline for the article, the official article. The article that was shared says, protest after biracial boy at 8 nearly hanged by teenagers. So what happened was the attackers taunted him with racial slurs on the 28th of August in a mostly white town of Claremont before they pushed him off a picnic table while they had a rope around his neck. There's a picture with this. I'm going to warn anybody listening, if you want
the 8-year-old, the child has survived.
He's survived, thankfully. I'm going to warn anybody, if you do read the articles after we post this, there is a slightly graphic picture. You can just see the injuries on the boy's neck because he did suffer some burns and some damage. The reason this hits so close to home for me is, I think I've mentioned this before, is my fiance is Filipina. My kids are not going to be white.
Right.
This shit, it does hit home to me.
And there is a, I mean, not so much here in America, but I know in Canada there is a lot of racist backlash towards Filipinos.
Which is weird because they're some of the nicest, hardest working people you'll ever meet.
Right, but I hate to say this, but Filipinos are kind of like our Mexicans in Canada.
Yeah. In a sense, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's not as overt though as
right.
You know, like,
but it's there. But it's there.
Filipinos are Catholic. They're not, you know, like, well, mostly Catholic as opposed to.
So are Mexicans. Like, right. Ridiculously Catholic.
But I mean, I'm like the more overt racism that's going against like Arabic people who, you know, are typically Islamic. Like you'll see news stories about, you know, their mosques getting trashed, graffiti and whatnot.
Right.
But, you know,
but it's there. But it's there. It's there.
Yeah. So, anyways, so this does hit close to home for me because, again, my kids, they're not going to be white, and it does bother me knowing that they're going to grow up possibly in a culture that still has to deal with these notions that if you're not white, you're somehow inferior. And I mean, I know as a white person, I'm never going to actually grasp what this is. Right. You know, I'm fortunate enough that it's not as prominent. I mean, I hope it's not as prominent anyways. You know, you preview my news and, you know, you'll see more about the weather down in the southern states than you really will about what's going on here. And unfortunately, you know, the Canadian stereotype about everybody being so polite is not necessarily a true. You know, much as that hurts me to say is, you know, I love the fact that I can go most places in the world and they're like, you're from Canada, we love you, you guys are amazing,
because you guys love everybody.
Yeah, you know, but knowing that, you know, there's a chance that this, maybe not something to this extent, but the idea of racial slurs and, you know,
and I there's something that I want to touch up on. These are teenagers going after a child. So clearly, I mean, there's so many fucked up points to parenting here. Clearly, the parents are allowing these children, or somehow along the line, allowed these children to think that it was okay to prey on children,
right,
and victims that are far weaker than them, right, and somehow taught them that not only was hanging black people a very fucked up part of the United States history, but that it was okay to do.
Yeah, that's, well, they were probably taught that that's the norm.
This is not 1817. This is 2017, and we are still worrying about black children being lynched in parks.
Yeah, although I haven't seen anything that said if he was half black or anything else, but I mean, New Hampshire, so that would be my best guess.
I believe he was. But even so,
if we find anything on
somebody with skin a shade darker than fucking eggshell,
and it's not, you know, it's not the bronze tan,
and he's an 8-year-old,
it's a fucked up thing, plain and simple.
These were teenagers, you know. So I want to know if the parents are being investigated.
I wouldn't be surprised, because this has received, like, even the governor, who has a hilarious name, and the dyslexic in me read it as Snoo. His name is Governor Chris Sununu.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to understand.
Well, you know, if you're,
it's a little difficult.
Which is interesting because he's, you know, you take a look at him and he's He's about as white as it gets.
Yeah.
And
He's your very typical New England white politician.
Yeah. And apparently he and the what is the AG? They sent a team to Claremont to provide assistance. Attorney General. Okay. Right, to deal with this. And apparently he's tweeted out that hatred and bigotry will not be tolerated. Now I don't know if he's Democrat or Republican, but
I really don't know, because he's so quiet that I kind of
hang on, maybe it'll say on his Twitter profile. No, just official Twitter account of the Office of New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu.
There's no R or D after that.
No. Oh wait, hang on. New Hampshire Governor. First, I don't think it's really saying.
Google his name and then Google party with it.
Huh. I think he is Republican.
But again, not all Republicans are fucking assholes.
But what's great about this, though, is that here we have a Republican responding in the way that they're supposed to respond to this by saying this hatred and bigotry will not be tolerated. There are bad people on both sides. This little boy, he was probably taunting them, probably flaunting around the fact that he has a bigger penis than they do, and he's only 8. We can't have that. There are bad people on both sides.
A fabulous impression. Holy shit. That is a fabulous impression. I'm digging that.
I got told at work that I do a lot of voices, and
that was fabulous.
Apparently. Well, thank you. I'm glad. I don't know if I'll make a series out of it, because
Patreon goals.
Yeah. So, long story short, or I guess not so short. Being biracial, which is bullshit as it is to begin with, because literally you're talking about melanin content in somebody's skin.
Right. But we can't sit here and say that skin color is a bullshit issue, because there are many
it very much is.
To skin color
it's just bullshit
that we need to recognize, and we need to understand the history of and the treatment of, and we need to recognize black people and minorities of their skin tone, and we can't say I don't see color, because that means you are literally whitewashing everything they go through.
You're right. The intended message was that the fact that it is an issue is bullshit, and I think it's petty as fuck. But no, it is very much an issue. But when your parents are of mixed ethnicity, it presents its own separate set of issues, because you're not one, you're not the other. And I don't know if it'll be as bad these days, but I do know that back when blacks and whites couldn't interbreed, that was verboten. Kids who they wouldn't be treated like they would be treated like one of the black kids by the white kids, and they would be left out by the black kids. And it's just because you don't belong. And
you always kind of feel stuck in the middle, right?
Exactly. And I know I'll have to do some digging around and see if I can find it, but I do know that there was a Black Lives Matter protest, and a white woman whose son was biracial, her son's father was black. They asked her not to come because she's not black, and they had issue with her son coming because he's part white.
And please do not think that is Black Lives Matter movement as a whole. This was one person in one chapter in one part of the world.
Right. But that's just demonstration. I don't think it was one of the leaders. I think it was just somebody there said it. Again, have to look for it.
Right.
If I have to make a clarification next episode, I was wrong. Whatever. It's no big deal, because I'm improving the quality of my information. But
I mean, this is an 8-year-old boy.
This is an 8-year-old who should not have to deal with this notion.
And even more disturbing is that these are teenage children,
right,
who are coming into this world and who are at the stage in their life where their minds are being set to be the adults that they're going to be, and what the legacy we're going to leave in this world after us.
Right.
And these parents are allowing this. Like, I'm sorry, a kid does not develop racist shit like this, racist fucking thoughts or racist ideals to the point that he's trying to hang an 8-year-old, lynch a fucking 8-year-old, and the parents don't know about it.
Yeah.
And it's either the parents are encouraging it or they're doing nothing about it. And inaction in this instance is just as bad as action.
Which is part of the reason why it is so annoying how centrists have
Case-
the need to
case in
say,
point.
you know, Antifa, because they get in their faces, they're just as bad as the people who want to outlaw people who aren't fucking
Okay.
white.
Case in point. My son looked at me and called me Mammy the other day.
Wow. That must have been
Mammy
interesting.
is a very racist term.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's Mammy was used to depict black house slaves, black older women house slaves.
Oh dear God! I thought it was a term of endearment. Wow.
No, there is now. Here's how fucked up things get in the South. There is a Mammy Lane in this town in Plantation Estates. The subdivision is called Plantation Estates. Yeah, so I had to sit down with my son, and I'm sure he may have just, so maybe somebody would have maybe thought it was a term of endearment, and he overheard it and thought, or maybe, you know, he pointed to me and said it, so I think he was kind of associating Mammy with mommy kind of a deal, but I had to sit him down and tell him that this is a racial, and these aren't the words I used with him, I mean, he's 5, but this is a racial derogatory term, and it's hurtful to black people, and we do not use that term.
Right.
And that is how you stop this shit in its fucking tracks.
Absolutely.
If you sat there and laughed for it or just ignored it, your inaction is just as much of an action.
Or if you try to wash it in such a way that you create a sense of false balance where
Right.
both sides are bad, therefore.
So I want to know what the parents of the children that committed this disgusting fucking atrocity, what the parents have to say and what is going on in those homes.
It looks like they're being pretty hush-hush about it, but...
Well, they have to be because, you know, ages and,
Yeah.
you know, all that. But I would like to know what the home life is like for these teenagers.
So the message I want to send our listeners home with is if you have kids at home, make sure they know that you will not tolerate racism, that this type of activity is not fucking okay, and be clear about it.
No, and it's not cute, and it's not adorable, and it's not something to fucking giggle about. Because, yeah, if you think it's cute at 5, that seed is planted at that point, and at 15, they're going to think it's okay.
Bingo. So, I think we're coming...
I would like to touch on something. We had 2 extremely intense hurricanes hit the United States. We had Hurricane Harvey a couple weeks ago hit Texas and destroyed Houston, and which is a major fucking city. I mean, Houston is underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Houston, fucking Texas, is underwater. The following week, we had Hurricane Irma, which has put multiple cities in Florida completely underwater, as well as leveled entire islands in the Caribbean.
That's right.
The devastation is... It's without words. It's without words. There's millions of people without power alone in Florida. There are whole towns underwater. And like I said, Houston, Texas, which is a major American city, is underwater. I'm not entirely sure if it's still underwater, but it was for a long time. I mean, underwater to the point that stop signs were being flooded and couldn't be seen. We will be sharing a page with a link of charities that are doing donations and food donations, or you can contact them to help if you do want to help. They also have star ratings on how effective they are and how much they do donate on this page. So if you please,
By the way,
look into it. Yeah. What's up?
this is just something that was brought to my attention by another podcast that I listen to, and they're a lot smarter than I will ever be, so I tend to take what they say fairly serious.
Well, shout out to the podcast. Don't say
It's
another
cognitive
podcast. I'm not giving them a
dissonance.
plug.
I've mentioned
Cogdis.
them before. I know. Tom and Cecil are great. Anyways,
I know.
they were talking about how a lot of people like to, go out and try to volunteer and, give their time, which it's a noble effort,
Right. But please check with local law enforcement before you make the fucking situation worse.
One of the things that they were commenting on was how, a lot of people seem to think that, because they're helping, that means that, they're doing good. Well, in a lot of cases, the people that actually work for these organizations are trained professionals. They legitimately,
right.
this
You're
is their
just getting
job.
in the way if you just show up. Please contact the actual organizations. Please contact local law enforcement before you just make the fucking situation worse.
They don't have the time to train up somebody new. You might actually be putting their lives in danger.
Right.
there's no shame in donating time, donating awareness. Do what you can to try to raise money.
Even a fucking 50-cent canned good that could feed a kid in a shelter for a night.
Please be aware.
But yeah,
of
we will be providing a page with links to some awesome organizations. Pick and choose, study the ones you want to pick out, whatever one you think.
I hear
you feel
Freedom.
is doing the best.
I hear the what is it? The FFRF, the Freedom from Religion Foundation's been doing pretty well.
And this extends past just the United States. The island of Barbuda, 95% of their structures were destroyed. 95%. This is an island of 1,600 permanent residents. It's Antigua and Barbuda. It's a tourist town. And not only is literally 95% of the island gone, they have now lost their revenue. So please remember places like this as well.
America is not the only place that was affected.
Right. Granted, we were affected, and yes, people here do need help, but people in other places need help too. And these are our international boundary neighbors.
Be thoughtful of your
don't
support.
sit here and say you take a vacation there, but yet you're not willing to help these people when they need it.
Be considerate, people.
Be a fucking human being.
Before we close the show out, though, folks, we're looking at the possibility of doing a Patreon. We'd love to, give you the chance to support us.
We love your money.
We love you, and we'd love your money if you'd share it with us. Yeah, that's. Anyways, we love doing this podcast, and we will be putting in an effort to be more regular.
Yes.
Which means that if we did, ask you guys to pay us for this, we would absolutely, first things first, make sure that we gave you something worthwhile. We've been batting back and forth a few ideas. One such idea that we've had would be a monthly show. I'm buckling under my resistance to Game of Thrones. I brought this to Jen, and I think I heard her squeal from thousands of miles away.
Thousands of miles, a whole time zone difference.
I didn't even need to feel my phone vibrate when she sent her message, because I already knew she had seen it.
Squealed.
What we would do is once a month, I'd watch an episode. Obviously I wouldn't be watching an episode a month. I'd be doing
oh my god, no. Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna take you like forever.
Yeah, it would take forever, but we'll release it on, say, a monthly basis. If we get enough support for it, we would consider.
You can do an entire season in a month, and we can get your recap for the season.
But I'm trying to spread this out, create a lot more content. Maybe get a little more.
Yeah, but it's only 10 episodes a season, and you don't want to drag this shit out too long. So I say a season a month, and we'll get a recap.
Evidently, we haven't solidified how we're going to do it, but this is something that we're thinking of doing as a way of saying, hey, if you want to support us and give us money, this is what we'd love to give you, because I know it's been kind of a gimmick of me harassing Jen. Now I can have the opportunity to get emotionally involved in it.
Or we can have your reactions. You videotape your reactions during each episode.
Do you really think that they'd want to look at my face, though?
Fuck yes! Just to see the reactions about shit. I think that.
It would get taken off Patreon.
We could do Game of Thrones reaction videos.
I think it might get taken down if I start masturbating, though.
Yeah, just keep it like shoulder and above. But yes, I think reaction videos each episode would be fabulous.
So this is something that we're thinking about. We would absolutely love your feedback to know if this is something that you guys think would be worth it.
And if you guys have any other ideas for anything for Patreon, let us know.
We are very open to ideas. We're very open to experimenting with a lot of things, people. Actually,
we do have to have the boyfriend back on the show, because I think he's the only one that actually left a review. So.
Ooh, we're still waiting on those reviews, folks. Come on.
Still waiting on what?
On those reviews.
Please don't make me have him back on again.
Apparently Jen doesn't.
No, it's okay. I don't mind having one.
Okay. So that's something we're thinking about. We're also toying with the idea of possibly testing out, seeing what it might be like to, us go into Xbox Live, play, like bullshit games or fun games, whatever, and not actually go through taking it serious, but just having fun, and you guys can kind of watch and see how we behave in a situation where we can shoot each other.
Actually, we actually don't even shoot each other. We actually hang out at each other's apartments, smoke a lot of fucking weed, drink a lot of alcohol, and
Bring strippers.
invest in strippers. Yeah, like
case-
this is what we do the entire game. Like we just hang out at Keith's souped up apartment and just listen to music and have strippers dance for us and get totally fucked up. This is what we do the entire time we play GTA. Like we don't even actually do anything. We just hang out at Keith's apartment.
It's a pretty cool apartment, especially when there are strippers involved. But
I know.
Anyways, so these are some of the things that we're thinking about in terms of getting that fire lit back under our ass. So we're doing this more often. We're more engaged with you, the listener, the viewer, the supporter, if you will. So if you like the idea, you want to support us that way, you might have an idea of how we can really earn that support. Please fire us off an email. We will have contact information at the end of the show, nehep@gmail.com, just in case.
Yeah.
So now that we've whored ourselves out for you, gone on a depressing asshole parade, I think it's about time that we wrapped this up. So Jen, it was
I'm just
it was
fucking
fun
tired.
throwing eggs
I'm
at
so
strangers.
Yes, it is always. Now Halloween's coming up. We can egg houses.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay.
Patreon goals. Watch Jen get arrested.
Fuck. Yeah, it's like watching them try to handcuff a lemur.
You've unleashed the beast now, dude.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you everybody for listening. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Or a good day, or whatever the fuck time you're listening to this shit.
G'day, mate. The Not Another Atheist podcast experience is run by Jen and Keith. If you wish to contact the hosts, please write to nehehp@gmail.com. They can be found at facebook.com/NotAnotherAtheistPodcast, or search Not Another Atheist Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play to subscribe and leave reviews.
God, how many more fucking prayer shit am I going to see on Facebook? It's like, everything will work out in the end. This is what I'm looking at now. Everything will work out in the end. You don't need to know how. You just need to trust God and believe that it will. Amen.
Great.
Yeah, it's called doing it for your goddamn self. That's how you handle the shit.
True that.
But it's been like since Irma and since Harvey. It's been like prayer chains everywhere.
Just delightful, isn't it?
Like I can't. What was it? I actually got. I'm glad I'm recording this. Let me pull this up.
Okay.
My local atheist group. Somebody actually posted this. Let me pull it back up. This was a status. Hey, there it is. Okay. Somebody actually posted, "How are you going to be an atheist and expect a disaster relief insurance payout for an act of God?" So I responded with, "How are you going to apply for tax exempt status and ask for federal aid?"
Ooh. Throwing shade. I like it.
Yeah. Burn.
And that's how we do it.
And that's how we do it.
How we do it. Okay. Just gonna make sure my water bottle is not gonna be knocked over.
Sorry, my boobs are coming out. And
I've seen worse.
yeah. Yeah, I know.
The internet's a scary place, especially at 2 a.m.
It really is. Oh, see, 3 to 4 a.m. is my time. It's even dark.
No, 2 a.m. was usually about when whatever paper I was writing on felt hopeless, and I just drank whatever I could find, and well, come whatever may.
Oh, I know those nights.
Yeah.
Those nights are scary.
Gotta love university.
You find out a lot about yourself as a person on those nights.
You really do.
You really go into the depths of your mind and then wonder how you didn't become a serial killer or
exactly. That's my point.
You really start to question your fucking sanity and be like, why do I enjoy shit like this?
Okay.
But you grow as a person, let you grow as a person.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I didn't do the thing. I'm Ted Cruz.
I'm picking up my panties and I'm going home. Okay.